Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Natter with Nick. My name is Nick Reeks. I'm the Chief Operations Officer of Teleware PLC, and delighted to be joined by Sharon Milner, who is the CEO of the Children's Heart Surgery Fund. Fantastic charity that she works for. She's been there for 14 years and doing a fantastic job. Hello, and how are you, Sharon?
Hi, Nick. I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, nice to be with you today.
Excellent. And what a great charity you're in there, and hopefully from this we'll be able to get a little bit more coverage and more funding to look after some of these poor children that get in these instances.
No,
so, yeah. Just tell us a little bit about the Children's Heart Surgery Fund and how does the charity help both children and adults?
Certainly. So we've been around for 31 years now, and as you pointed out, I've been around for 14 of those.
Yeah.
I think the reason I've been around so long is it's such an interesting specialty. It's fast moving, and as I say, just completely draws you in. So no 2 years are the same, but the charity actually supports the NHS, and we have done, and the specialty being obviously congenital heart disease, and as you point out, it's children and adults that we support. And we do that in a number of ways. We support the unit primarily in delivering and supporting projects. So revolutionary equipment is one of the things that's moving the service forward, which obviously impacts on the work that the surgeons and cardiologists do and the nursing staff. We support some small research projects. We train and develop the staff as well. And we have that holistic care, that wraparound care for families. We have a family support worker that helps families with expenses and well-being and signposting, so any issues that they have, this particular person's there to listen to those and try and help problem solve. So we also provide toys and games for the children and accommodation for families whilst they're staying in the hospital. So it's a real mixture. So we help the service, which helps the families. So it has that knock-on effect. Yeah. And in terms of helping adults, it is a case of providing them with things like pedometers, checking out the healthcare, and providing vouchers while they're on the ward. We have some INR testing kits where they're testing the blood levels with this piece of kit. It means that they don't have to come into the hospital, and it's not available on the NHS. So again, it's a time saver. It's ensuring that people are in charge of their own care. And that's really reassuring for them and builds people's confidences. So we do quite a mixture there.
Yeah. As a father, I can't envisage having a child, one of my children, with a heart problem, but it happens. And so I don't make any secret of we're beating the drum here to try and get more donations for this particular charity. So I know you've said before, any big or small donation can make all the difference. Even if we buy a poor child a teddy bear or whatever it needs to be. But just talk about how a couple of instances, how it's when you've got donations in, how it's transformed, or the outlook of people from when donations have come in.
Yeah, I think as you mentioned, the teddy bear is our mascot. She's called Katie Bear. Yeah. And we hand Katie Bear at the very start when the family have come back from the child having surgery. Our fantastic community fundraiser, Lisa, meets the family. She gives them the Katie Bear mascot and a certificate to talk about the surgery, when it happened and which surgeon. And that's very, very meaningful and powerful for our families, because it marks that day, that occasion when this happened, and it's very significant for them. And we've been doing this for 30 years, and you can imagine that the mascot's changed in that time. And we do have people, coming on and showing us the original mascot. She looks so different to today, so she's evolved, and rightly so. But really, really meaningful. And they cost, around £10. But wow, what a difference they make to that family. And it's a great way of us engaging and talking about the work that we do. And then another example is something quite big, really. I recall a family raising some money for a ball that they did. So they raised in the region of £20,000, and it was a Halloween ball. It's something that happened every year for sort of 10 years while this little girl was growing up, and she got involved with the mum as she got older with the ball, and she needed a further operation. And she was hitting the teenager stage at this point, and it was quite serious, this operation. This young lady only had half a working heart, and this last operation was very significant. Anyway, the money was raised at the ball, and they wanted to put it towards a specific piece of equipment, and we did identify a piece of equipment, and the equipment, I'm glad to say, was purchased. A year after that, this young lady was actually treated with that equipment that she'd purchased, and
Wow.
fortunately she went into renal failure, which was completely unexpected, but because all the services are under one roof at Leeds, she was able to access the renal department, the heart department. Everybody was involved in this young lady's care. I'm pleased to say she survived and she's doing really well, but that piece of equipment, really made a massive impact on that family, this girl, and other children since. But it's a great example of how, somebody raised money, and the coincidence was just incredible that they actually got to use that equipment not long after, and she's doing well, which is wonderful. I've had another instance where we've helped families with expenses, and whilst they've been in the hospital, because it is a difficult time, often the extra costs associated with being in the hospital. And I do remember one family writing to me, saying to me how much they appreciated these expenses, and how that it really got them through a difficult period, and they were in trouble in terms of paying their mortgage, and that this helped them prevent their house, being taken away from them, and that was so. There's been times when things like this have happened where it just spurs you on. It's difficult sometimes because we see difficult things, but we've got a very tenacious, driven team that, we know we're lucky that we can, provide this care, this support, this add-on to this service, and it keeps us going,
Fantastic. And when you're talking there, we all get wrapped up in our day-to-day business calls, business meetings, and I think that's important. When you listen to something like you, it just brings to earth what is important in life, health and making sure people are correct. So this vlog podcast is going to go out to mainly business users through social media channels. So I'm particularly interested how businesses can get involved with this and help donate there. So could you give me a little bit more information around that, please?
I certainly can. And, we have different sources of income, and as you might imagine, our families want to give back to the service. They see firsthand what we do, and they're very engaged, and they generally run events, and they come up with some wacky, wild things. Sometimes it's wonderful to see. But we also have the income that comes in from our corporate supporters, who are, again, fantastic. And it's a two-way partnership. That's the way we talk about the corporate partnership, that we want to give back as much as they give us. So we have a quite high profile within the Yorkshire region for many reasons, because we've been around so long, and because of the meaningful work that we do. We've had, lots of fantastic exposure, and rightly so. And we do social media really well, and we tend to engage and support the work that the organisation are doing, versus we give them challenges that they can ask their teams to do. So we're great in terms of helping to team build under normal circumstances, and so they can get involved with us with 3P challenges, health challenges. A lot of it has now gone digitally online, but you know what? That's people have really stepped up to the mark with doing things like runs and walks and marathons, but doing them in their own time, and asking for donations that way. But the corporate support is very important to us, and often we can bring corporates to the ward and showcase the work that we do, and again, that's very meaningful to them. And then often we can earmark funds towards a particular project as well, which is again, it's very tangible. So it's very much about a working partnership, team building amongst their teams, invigorating them, and providing events that they can have fun and raise money and and feel good about themselves, because we all want to do that.
Yes, we better get up and tell you where and help you with this one and make sure an event's organised around it.
Yeah.
So I don't like using the word the pandemic we're under at the moment, but the good news is we're nearly 5,000 people are vaccinated at this recording, which is exciting for me that we're actually getting through and finding a way out of it. But how has the pandemic affected your trust, and how are you working through that?
Yeah, it was scary for us and for everybody else, and the unknown, wasn't it, back in March last year? And I think first and foremost, it was really difficult for the families, in terms of access to the ward, baby coming in, and only one parent, being able to be at the bedside. And that was, I can't tell you how difficult that was for people. This is hard enough, people talk about how they go through PTSD after this, because they're so shocked that their baby might have a heart problem that it can affect some people for years to come. We have a psychology team that support families, and they're wonderful. But nevertheless, not everybody wants to talk to a psychology team. So we do see the fallout of that. So this compounds all those feelings, that people have, and it's very difficult. Staff are amazing on the unit, and they've adapted COVID way, but absolutely has affected the families. So we've been trying to be there for them by delivering some wellbeing services, some one-to-one, some online sessions with them to help them get them through it. And I think that's helped massively, but we have been able to do that through a grant that we were given. So we were really targeting organisations where we could raise money that was COVID relevant in some instances, and we were able to put that support on for some of our families, and the feedback's been wonderful. But yeah, let's not underestimate this difficult period. It's not over yet, and as you say, 5 million almost have been vaccinated, and we are over the moon and feeling much more optimistic about this year. And we're hoping that we will get back to events at some point, and a bit more normality. But in the meantime, any donation that people can give, no matter how small, as you said earlier, would be just so appreciated. Because every charity's feeling it right now.
Yes.
It's difficult.
Absolutely. And some of the stories you've told us is obviously clearly very moving and hard to bear. But what must get overlooked sometimes is your charity is at the coalface of all this. So how do you keep motivating your colleagues and staff to keep in such a positive attitude throughout this situation?
Yeah, I think it has to be one of the hardest years for all my staff last year, and they were phenomenal. Just the way they adapted, and that's in terms of fundraising and pushing the cause and working in a different kind of way. And it has a burnout effect. But the one thing that keeps people going is meeting and talking and interacting with the families. And we have a fantastic Facebook page where people share their stories and talk to each other. And
what is the Facebook page? What's it called?
It's Children's Heart Surgery Fund, and it's literally, if people search in the top search engine part of Facebook, it's there. We're on Instagram as well, the Children's Heart Surgery Fund. So people can look at that, and I think we feel always just so, one, we're blown away with the work that the unit does, and two, we're inspired by families and how they respond to what they're going through. So yes, it's difficult, but I don't think at any point we feel disengaged. We're very lucky that we have meaningful jobs, and we know each year we're helping in some kind of way, so that spurs you on. Our retention in the charity is very good. Staff have been with me for a long time, because again, I think it's that, as I said at the beginning, that interesting specialty. It's moving forward all the time. There's innovative things going on. It's changing for the good. And the results from these children surviving are just exceptional now. You know, you're looking at late 98% survival, you know, but they do come through, for generally speaking, for a lifetime of operations. For some, it is, you know, a one-stop shop. They have the operation and they're fine, which is wonderful. But often they come back and they having operations into their adult life. But, you know, again, on the positive slant, they're living much longer as well. So just in these years that I've been here, the statistics have improved, and families and adult, just the well-being has improved. You know, the outcomes are better. It's a better picture than it was. It's still difficult, but
yeah, I absolutely relate to that. But taking a positive 98% success rate is incredible. I didn't think you'd be near as high as that. So that is fantastic. So, and then moving into 21, staying positive. Are there any innovations or new research that's coming out that'll make it even more positive?
Well, we've got a fantastic project that we started last year, and it's a baby MRI pod. And we started fundraising for this, and for a couple of reasons. One, that when a baby has an MRI, and they're trying to take a picture of the baby in normal circumstances, it's very difficult to get the baby to sit still or to not cry. Yeah. So, because they're distressed, because I don't know if you've ever had an MRI or if any of your listeners have, but they're very noisy and awful. And so this particular pod that we've purchased puts the baby inside that's snuggled up and inside the MRI, so it's eliminating some of that noise, and it's nicely snuggled up. And it's also it's decreasing the exposure to radiation, this pod, and it's also prevents a general anaesthetic, which is just phenomenal breakthrough. But these scans will also be faster, more efficient, less distressing, and will have clearer information and images, which leads to a different result potentially with surgery. So the clearer the picture the surgeon has on what that child's heart looks like, the better. So this is moving the service moving the service forward significantly, and it's the only one in Europe that we understand. So not only is it the only one in the country, but we believe it's the only one in Europe as well. So we're very excited, and that, I believe, has now reached a hospital. So it's all just getting set up as we speak. So there'll be lots more in terms of research being able to be done on that, in that machine, in that pod, because they can read the scans better, and so really positive. We're very excited about that.
And just so we try and get some people on here to donate, which I'm sure they will for the right reasons. What if we set that as a target? How much do these things cost? These new pods?
Good question. You know, we're talking tens of thousands for something like this, and so that was not a cheap project. But we have other projects that don't cost as much. And you know, as I said earlier about the teddy bear and certificate, you know, every penny counts. We reached out to trusts and foundations for this sort of project, and they came back, and we worked with other charities that have contributed towards this particular project as well. But yes, any donation from people that feel compelled to give after hearing this will be very worthwhile and meaningful, and would appreciate it.
Perfect. So finally then, how do people donate? Is there a shop on your website? I'm absolutely encouraging people, please donate to this charity. So just tell us the admin details of how people should do that, and I'll be the first on it.
Oh, thank you. Our website is www.chsf.org.uk, and there's a donate button on our website, and that would come straight through us. And if people tick the gift aid box, that would help enormously, because that would enhance the donation by 25%.
Wow, yeah.
So yes, our website is probably the best way to do that. And yes, if people are thinking of running an event, they can find us on the Just Giving page as well. And that's a platform where people can raise money, and the money comes directly through us if they choose to do a digital event, for example. But we do have some events on our website that people might be interested in getting involved, particularly the people that love running events or any sort of challenge walks. Maybe they want to do half marathon, anything like that. But we've got some good ideas on there as to how people can encourage other donors to give. So maybe the family wants to give to us, and that's where Just Giving comes in, because you can share the link and you can get more people to help support the work that we do. And you can also set up an event on Facebook giving as well. So if there's your birthday coming up and it's a big birthday or just a birthday, and you don't want to receive presents, but you'd rather us receive the donations, that's another great way of doing a Facebook fundraiser. I think you can do them on Instagram as well now. And so that's another great way of raising money and sharing it with your contacts.
Excellent. Sharon, thank you so much for your time. I'm sure the viewers will really take interest in this and help you with this fantastic, worthy cause. Many thanks again.
Thank you.